my amazing people, you're welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Good morning, my amazing people. Good afternoon, good evening. I greet you all according to your time. I remain your favorite baby girl, Anointed Lady TV. If you are new to this channel, you are highly welcome. And if you are returning subscribers, thank you very much for always coming to support me. And if you have been watching, you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for, my beautiful people? Please kindly hit that red button where they wrote subscribe and also put on the notification bell so you will be getting more updates from this channel. As many that have been supporting me, may God richly bless you all. I love you all, guys. Let's watch this video below. I will be right back.
Farmers in Borno State. Multiple questions are again being raised regarding what President Muhammadu Buhari and his service chiefs are doing, rightly or wrongly, in the war against terrorism. Reports of low-scale invasion and killing of hundreds of villagers by heavily armed bandits, particularly in states of the Northwest, are also coming to the fore. It was a very rowdy session of the House of Representatives on Tuesday this week, as lawmakers from Borno State rose in unison to demand that President Buhari be summoned to the floor of the House to explain why the military failed to prevent the Boko Haram massacre of farmers in Zabamari, despite clear warning signs, according to published reports. In the same manner, senators are intensifying their call for the immediate sack of the service chiefs. Would that be the silver bullet? Well, joining us now to have a comprehensive discussion around all of that is Usman Yusuf, a professor of hematology and oncology and bone marrow transplantation, as well as a former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Good morning, Professor Usman Yusuf, and thank you for joining us. Well, Prof, there have been many suggestions as to what should be done about the insecurity in Nigeria. The House of Reps wants the president to come and give a State of the Nation address in front of Parliament. The Senate wants the service chiefs sacked. Some people are even saying the president himself should resign because he seems to have no clue, and that cluelessness cannot be accepted. But you just recently wrote an essay in which you are saying, look, communities and individuals should be empowered to defend themselves. That your recommendation is not, is it not a prescription for anarchy? If communities and individuals have to carry arms, particularly in the northern part of the country, to protect themselves.
Good. So I just wrote a paper, 1st of December, and the title of the paper is Enough is Enough. Communities must be mobilized and empowered to defend themselves. And that's very clear. It cannot be any more clearer than this. And it shouldn't be construed as, I want everybody to carry guns. It is clear to everybody, from the citizens to the government, that the government has failed to protect our people. Period. So, and I'm glad the nation now is paying attention. What happened in Zabamari a few days ago has been happening all across the Northeast for the last 12 years. And all across the Northwest for the last 5 years. It's now we are getting media attention. And thank you for that. This is the truth. The honest truth is that status quo is not working and it cannot continue. People are being killed every day all across the North, all across the 3 geopolitical zones. I have personal experience. I have a friend whose family, 6 of them were taken kidnapped into the forest. And the kidnappers are demanding 60 million from a person who does not have 5,000 naira of his own. And this is not new. It's all across the North. And it's very clear. So the first thing, the government and all Nigerians must agree to is things are not working. And the government must involve the people. Because Gandhi said, whatever you do for me, without me, is against me. The way security is done in this country is that things come from Abuja without involving people. People must be involved. We are in big trouble. Nigeria, insecurity in this country has been killing our people, our women have been raped, cattle rustled, and our villages burnt. What I recommended, that it is high time the federal government put this nation on war footing and mobilize everybody. During the Civil War, the nation was on war footing. Everybody knew there was a war. But we've been at war for the last 12 years. Southern part of Nigeria didn't even know there was anything happening. And now for the last 5, 6 years. The nation must be on war footing set by the federal government. Mobilize everybody and every resources to this. Because this insecurity is an existential threat to this country. What I suggested is, the honest truth is, there are not enough soldiers, there are not enough policemen to handle this. And this is the truth. And it's not a shame. And this is not the first time in the world that irregular outfits are brought in to help the military. In the UK, during World War II, from 1940 to 1944, they formed what they call Home Guard. What they did was, and these were composed of people that were young, couldn't go to war, or old people. And their purpose was to protect the homeland against Nazi invasion. They trained them, armed them to protect their communities. And this is what I'm recommending. And this is what it has to do before we get to anarchy, people carrying their arms. Government can do it in a very controlled way. Communities and the military should train our youth, arm them, supervise them, and hold the homeland. And then arm and train and supervise forest guards. I said it. No nation can call itself secure if it does not have control of its airspace, its waterways, its highways, or its forests. We don't have control of our forests. We don't have control of our highways. We cannot be secure, and I will only be deluding ourselves if we think things will change if we continue as is. Our discussion will make everybody sit up and say, we have a problem. Security is not governments or the militaries alone. It's ours. It's our people that are being killed every day, our women that are being raped, our cattle that has been rustled. Kaduna to Abuja, a 200-kilometer highway, has become the highway to hell. People cannot drive there. These bandits just block this place and go on operation. This is not acceptable. I have friends in the United States who are from Somalia, keep calling me every day and say, Usman, we are worried about Nigeria. This is how Somalia started, and this is where we are. This is serious. This is not the circus you see in the Senate or the House, where they are screaming, President come, President go. No. This is serious business. I need to see those members of House of Reps, the ones we elected, visit our people in IDP camps, visit our people to see how they are. And our ministers that represent us in President Muhammad Buhari's cabinet, I need to see them in IDP camps and see the sufferings of our people. I have visited IDP camps. You go there, what you have is, I came out with heavy hearts. And all across the north, our hearts are heavy with grief. And our eyes full of tears. Many of these villages cannot sleep in their villages. They're sleeping in the forest. The bandits are brazen now. They go. There's a village called Kanoma in Zamfara on a Friday. Congregation, Jumat prayers. They came and rode into the village, went into the mosque, carted away 100 people, and selected 40 and took away the imam and killed 5 people. This can happen anywhere across the north. I want people in the south to imagine if it was a Sunday and bandits go into a church and kidnap 40 people and take away the pastor. The whole world will be, even President Trump will talk. Khan will be up in arms. But what I said is all this is allowed to happen because of our silence in the north. Our leaders, our clerics and our traditional rulers, I say, must be the conscience of the people and speak up. For on that day, that is certain, they will be asked, where were they when their people were slaughtered? Their silence. And I'm very glad His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, has started speaking up. He spoke in public that 76 of his people were killed in one day in Sokoto. Did it make headline? It didn't. So everybody, when we speak, it's not that we are against the government. This government, we brought this government in, and it must do what we ask it to do. If it does not protect us, then it's no good to us. So we must speak up, and I call on every Nigerian to speak up. We must hold our government responsible, and that's what democracy is, participation of citizens. Not this circus you see in the assembly, president come, president go. No. And the president must talk to us. You remember during the NSAS protests, people were screaming, president must address the nation, president must address the nation. Well, we've been having mountains of mortalities and deaths in the north. We've had little or next to nothing from our president. The president we elected. The president we put in the villa to protect us. He got in Katsina 1.2 million votes. What do we have to show in Katsina? A third of Katsina is under bandits. The capital city is filled up as an IDP. I go to IDP camps, they are praying for him. They are praying for him. You see the video clips of Zabarmari, everybody will be moved to tears. The president needs to be shown that, because that is his duty, that is his responsibility, his and his alone. And when people keep talking about service chiefs, I really do not spend my time doing that. They are representing somebody. They are serving at the pleasure of the president. If they are not doing their job, you and I don't have to tell them to go. The president is his responsibility too. If I'm a service chief after Zabarmari, I will resign. No one will with conscience will see what happened and not take it as a failure. How our leaders can go to sleep after all this. And these are the few that make headlines. All across the north, this is happening every day. Every day.
Well, it's quite clear that our leaders can and do go to sleep. Now, it's also quite clear that you are deeply moved by the happenings and lapses and omissions in the north. If only we could get this level of empathy from the president and other leaders, I'm sure would, go a lot further than we are now. What is really missing here is what you have expressed, the emotion. It appears that there's no thought or feeling of value for the lives of these people. In your essay, you paint a vivid picture, counting the costs, literally and figuratively. How can we be expected to believe that the president is not aware of all of these things, and yet what we have is deafening silence? One of your recommendations, and I'm glad that you included recommendations in your essay, because people tend to stop at the point of pointing out all the problems without proffering solutions. But you have your solutions that you've proffered, that the president should address the nation on this. And you made a reference to the comments of Alhaji Malam Garba Shehu, which you refused to repeat. There has been no rebuke from the president for that kind of comments. That also is quite telling. But my question, all of that was commentary. My question is that you recommend Community Defense Corps. How is that different from the current civilian JTF that's operating now?
Good. So you can call it any name you want. Civilian JTF over time, over the last 12 years, they have done a wonderful job in the Northeast, in Borno. And it wasn't that any government or any military asked them to do that. Civilian JTF was essentially a youth revolt. The youth in Borno were tired of the continued slaughter by Boko Haram. These were kids like them, their relatives. They got tired, they said, we are not going to allow this to continue, our parents and our folks killed. And they organized themselves. And then the government and the military helped them. So It can come in any name or any way. The whole idea is citizen participation in the protection of the people. Let me give you an example in Batsari, a village in Katsina State, close to the forest. The military is there for protection of the population. It cannot be there forever. It's been pulled all over the country. The military is essentially performing police function now. The military cannot be there forever, and there are not enough of them. And the police, there are much fewer of them to protect our people, and our forests are not protected. So the communities, and I suggested, the federal government, it has this program from the Ministry of Labor, employing 1,000 people, 1,000 youths per every local government for a couple of months. In Katsina State, we have 34 local governments. If you give me 34,000 youths in Katsina, this thing will be shut in a week. Train them. Unleash them into the forest. This is their neighborhood. They know the neighborhood more than a soldier from Maiduguri or a soldier from Calabar. And they have more invested in the security of that area than any other person. They are there to help and complement the functions of the military. Our military has been stretched too far, has been at war for 12 years. No military psychologically can survive that long. Even to the service chiefs, they must be fatigued mentally. So the federal government must come as an organized, just like they do civilian JTF, use it as a template. But every community, you cannot bring one thing and stamp it for the other. It has to be community-based. That is why I say communities must be involved. Rather than coming with big tanks and guns to communities and Abuja plans, they must sit with communities. How can we do this? And come up with a plan and work. But the citizenry must come in to help the military and the police. That's the only way we can solve this problem. The police and the army cannot. Not because they are not trained to, but they are overstretched.
Okay.
They're overstretched. So yes, it's not anarchy, it's organized, just like civilian JTF.
Okay.
And we must consider doing that.
Okay, so I'll ask two questions. The first argument a lot of people will make is, those who have guns in too many hands. You talked about the British Home Guard. We replicated such here during the Civil War. That was what metamorphosed into the civil defense. That was an offshoot of the Civil War to be able to maintain security of some other parts while the army fought the war in the war region during the Nigerian Civil War here. Those ones bear arms. We don't know the role they've been able to play in all of this. We talked about civilian JTF. We talked about the people now protecting their area. One thing I have not heard a lot of people talk about is the helplessness of Professor Babagana Zulu. That man, the governor of Borno State, wants to do a lot, but he keeps saying he's helpless. Why? Because we don't have a restructured country yet. Restructuring is a big problem. The military is still headed by the military command. He wants to do a lot, but he's handicapped. He's complained about complicity many times, but he has to pass it to Abuja. Is this not the time for restructuring to start? Because you say it's in the north alone. It's not. They killed a traditional ruler in Ondo State, the Oba of Ifon. They killed him. They went to Olufalaye's farm. Bandits destroyed the farm. I have never seen sacrilege and a taboo of that proportion. Killing a traditional ruler in cold blood. Is this not the time for restructuring now? So every region will be able to take its destiny in its hands and its security.
Good. So I talked about it. So this is all restructuring, rotation, presidency coming from the east, coming from the west, sets my blood boiling. My people are being killed. Go to Katsina, go to Batsari, go to GBR, and ask them. Restructuring service chiefs, they don't care. What they care is peace in their land, and they don't care where that service chief comes from. They don't care how this country is restructured. And I said it in that paper, the cluelessness of our political class, they have now put governance on hold for their own personal issues. They're already scrambling for 2023. Who they are going to hand us over to in 2023. When they put us in a ditch in 2020, instead of talking about 2020, they're saying, oh, we want to hand you over to this guy in 2023. As if they are in total denial or they are oblivious to the mortal danger that insecurity poses to this country. What we've been talking about over the last weeks, and I see that. What are the topics dominating the news? NSAS, restructuring, rotation, where the president is going to come from. Is it at Igbo? Is it at Hausa? Is it I shake my head and say, these guys are out of touch with the realities of our people. If we do not solve insecurity, there may not be a country to restructure. There may not be a presidency to rotate. And the year 2023 may very well be a bridge too far. Insecurity is an existential threat to this country. There may not be a country to restructure or a presidency to rotate to if we do not solve insecurity. Talking about the killing of a traditional ruler in the southwest, ask Borno and the northeast or the northwest in Katsina, how many of our traditional rulers have been killed by these bandits and Boko Haram? Slaughtered. Never made headlines. Never made headlines. So, people, fellow Nigerians, we're in big trouble. Our biggest problem is insecurity. And that insecurity is everywhere. Answers have stirred the hornet's nest. There will be more insecurity now in the South than they've ever seen before, thanks to NSAS. That's why I say the army is overstretched. We saw that in Benin, when cults were killing themselves. We saw that in broad daylight armed robbery of a bullion van in Lagos. And we saw what they are doing IPOB is doing in Rivers. And if politicians think there will be clean or restructure or a clean breakup, they need to wake up. There will be what's going to happen, warlords everywhere. In Mushin, in Agege, in Surulere, there will be warlords because of insecurity. Restructuring. What it is, if I'm a governor of a state, I'll have to go and ask the president, allow me to import arms and train my boys with the help of the military. With the help of the military.
Well, Professor...
So all this shout about restructuring and whatever is for you and I, the elites here. Our people that are being killed every day don't care about this. Insecurity is our number one, and it's all over the country now. We better pay attention. And the government needs to listen to us, and the government needs to realize that this is all for us. It's not only for the military. We commend the military and the police for doing what they are doing. But there is so much they can do because of the limitations of number and equipment. They need our help. All citizens must be involved. The nation must be put on war footing. We're in big trouble, and we need to understand that.
Well,
and
Prof.
Out here in the north, we have heavy hearts, and we're crying. And we're not in any mood for these political shenanigans. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure that even in the South, most people will agree with you. But your proposal about Community Defense Corps and the role of governors that you've talked about, and then what you have said about restructuring, are you invariably saying that we should have state police? Because if you say the army will train the Community Defense Corps, I hope that's not a suggestion, that Community Defense Corps will be under the control of a federal agency. Because if the communities are going to have their own units, why don't we just have state police that will be under the control of the state government? That's my first point. One of your recommendations is also about the engagement of private military contractors. Now, what are your ideas about that? Who will fund those private military contractors? also known as mercenaries.
Good, good. So about state police, I mean, I've just turned 60. I'm old enough to know about local government police when we were growing up. Unless you have local involvement in policing, call it state police, call it local government police, call it whatever. People don't care. We need police. In Katsina State, the governor said it. For 100 villages, there are 30 policemen. So the average is 1 policeman guarding 3 villages. 1 policeman guarding 3 villages. There just has to be a control, a uniformity, but we need to have police protecting our people. Many of these rural areas have never seen anything government. No electricity, no water, no schools, no dispensaries. And now we cannot even give them the peace to go to their farmlands. Bandits are taxing them for them to be able to go to the farm, or taxing their farm products. This is exactly what Al-Shabaab has been doing in Somalia, a failed state. A failed state. So we must be more responsible to our people. Call it state police, call it local government police, call it whatever. We need police to protect our people. Back to military contractors, we don't call them mercenaries anymore. Dr. Abati, you were in the last government, Goodluck Jonathan's government. In the twilight of their years, they engaged the services of military contractors with good results, too, at that time. So involvement of military contractors, we call them military contractors now, is not new. In the U.S., I was in the U.S. when during the Iraq War. American military, the mighty American military did not have enough boots on the ground to police all of Iraq. They had to engage the services of Blackwater, which is they call military contractors. We need them, we must have them, we must engage them. What we need to do is set out clear guidelines for their rules of engagement. But they come with small footprints, they operate at night with their night vision goggles, go in there, decimate these bandits of Boko Haram and take away. We've seen how the Americans rescued their citizen. Navy SEALs came and picked up their citizen and killed the bandits and left. Small footprints, just few Navy SEALs. So their purpose for us is honestly training our military, because there's so much big footprint, we don't need jets throwing bombs onto what? You throw bombs onto tanks or military infrastructure. These bandits don't have them. So why do you have jets? What you need are helicopter gunships that will drop operatives in the forest and come back and pick them up. So our strategy needs to change. And these military contractors, they have been battle-hardened all over the world. They will train our guys, and they will be involved in the operation. And it will be for a short while. And it is our responsibility to set rules of engagement. Because the danger always is they are not a conventional military, and they are not tied to any government, so the danger of abusing human rights is always there. But they have a purpose. These are extraordinary times that require extraordinary and strategic measures. Not doing the same. We've been doing the same all this time. And we'll be deluding ourselves to think anything will change if we continue doing the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. We keep being told every time, oh, they've been decimated, they've been degraded. Oh, we've killed 20, we've killed 30. Generals, we don't want to know how many you've killed. Come back and tell us we've killed all of them and our people can go back home. So yes, military contractors will be a great asset to our war against bandits and Boko Haram. And yes, call it a local government police, state police, whatever police, we need them. And we need to increase the number of the police force. Everybody knows that. The government knows that. And the government must listen to all of us. When we talk, don't lock us up. Don't say, oh, this guy doesn't like us. This is our country. When we speak for God and country. We love this country more than we love any government. And we'll speak up. And we'll continue to do that. And we'll urge our people to continue to speak up and hold our governments responsible. Because they are. We voted them in. The Northwest gave President Muhammadu Buhari more votes than all the other 5 geopolitical zones put together. He's never addressed us. He's turned his back against us. Our people are dying. So yes, we have every reason to be angry, and yes, we are. For those of us who can speak up, we are venting the anger of our people. But when our people vent their anger without control, this country will not know peace.
It certainly
so
won't.
Our passion is real, because we have seen it.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
You mentioned the use of drone technology. I'd like you to expand on that, because it is mind-boggling in 2020 that we're told that these bandits and terrorists attack and then vanish into the ether. Doesn't make any sense. It
doesn't. Drones are cheaper than all these big jets and the bombs we throw on the farm fields blindly. How did Americans track their citizen after being kidnapped from Niger into Nigeria? Drone technology. What it helps you is to track people and then neutralize them with little foot on the ground. During NSAS, they had drones. Even kids now have drones. Drones technology are cheaper, and they are in the defense architecture of every nation. And they are cheaper. These bandits take people into the forest. They don't have big houses. They're herds. Into the forest. And yet, we allow them to use the cell phone using a registered SIM card, which is a security risk. The National Security Advisor the last time said they were going to stop unregistered SIM cards. We still have them. We hear bandits calling for ransom using unregistered SIM cards. The Ministry of Communication must block all these unregistered SIM cards today. And any mobile operator that refuses to do that should be sanctioned. It's a threat to our people. Our people are being killed, and these guys are calling our people and laughing and threatening them. If you don't bring, we kill you. And giving them directions. These simple things that can be done. Block the SIM cards. Don't sell fuel in jerry cans around the area. Find out where cattle are sold. Work with NDLA and customs and stop bringing tramadol that these bandits and these insurgents get high on. These are simple things that must involve the community, not from Abuja, but everybody is here talking English while our people are continuing to be killed. We are not happy. And government needs to hear us loud and clearly. Things cannot continue this way.
I mean,
there will not be restructuring. There will not be rotation of presidency if we do not control insecurity in Nigeria. Thank you. Go ahead.
Let me come in real quickly, Prof. I'll just come in real quickly. But it's so easy for you to get unhappy when we talk restructuring, that everything comes from Abuja. But everything really comes from Abuja, really. You talked about blocking of SIM cards. People in the neighborhood can't just block the SIM cards like that. They have to come from Abuja. Recently, at the demonstration day for new innovations by the military, I saw the military had invented a drone. I mean, I think they're probably using this too in the warfare and things like that. But for me, I want to talk about the pertinent part. Some governors maybe the governor of your state had photo up with bandits. They said they were negotiating with them. How far has those negotiations gone?
Rufai, I'm not in any government, so don't ask me. Go and ask them. And I've said it in my previous papers. This continuing negotiation with bandits is a sign. No. These negotiations are nothing but the governors are important from these guys. And many of these bandits have direct lines to the governors, calling them. I know Nasir El-Rufai refused to negotiate with them. But there has to be a unified thing. If a governor in the neighboring state A is negotiating with them and I'm not negotiating with them, they buy them cattle, they buy them this, It is all sign of failure of governance, from the center to the states.
Before we go,
We are negotiating with bandits and giving them the money of the people they are killing. Come on, people.
well, we are also rehabilitating them and
We have to be more serious.
reintegrating them. Well, Prof, your first recommendation is
Pardon?
that your first recommendation in your paper is that President Buhari should take charge. I mean, how else should he take charge? I mean, he delegates authority, he has service chiefs. Immediately after the killings in Zabamari, he sent a delegation to empathize with the people. Why do you think that he's not in charge? If he's not in charge, then who is in charge?
I don't know. I'm not in the villa. And I don't question anybody. I don't question any general, any minister, any senator, because I did not vote for any one of them as my president. I voted for President Muhammadu Buhari just like millions of us that voted for President Muhammadu Buhari, and we hold him responsible. And we put blame on him on everything in this government, because it's his government. Everybody from the service chiefs to his ministers to all his appointees, they serve at his pleasure. They do bad, we blame him. That's what democracy is. He has that power. So it is him, we put all the blame too. And it is his responsibility. And I've said it loud and clearly, that the time will come when all of them that have a responsibility to protect our people will be asked to account for all the bloodshed, all the lives lost, all the women raped, all those that are in IDP camps, all people that are bereaved, and all those that go to bed hungry on account of their actions or inactions during their stewardship. That is God's promise, not mine. So when we ask them tough questions, when we ask them to be responsible leaders, we are helping them to help us and to help themselves. So I'm not going to blame any service chief, any minister. No, I voted for President Muhammadu Buhari as my president. And I hold him personally responsible for all the carnage going on in my state and all the other parts of this country. And every citizen should. That is what democracy is. Leaders do not outsource leadership to anybody else. Can't say, oh, is the Minister of Education that's responsible for this? Oh, no. Keep an eye. Insecurity is our problem, and it is the president that we will hold responsible. And God Almighty will hold responsible. And every citizen should. We're not making excuses for him by blaming, oh, is the service chief, is that. I don't talk about service chiefs. They serve at his pleasure. If they are not doing well, tells them, General, thank you for your service to the nation. It's time I make changes. 6 years is too long. They must be exhausted. They don't sleep. I know that. They don't sleep. It's not easy. So yes, I'm not talking blaming or anybody. Is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, that we citizens will hold responsible and God Almighty will hold responsible. End of story. I'm not going to talk about his media advisor that talked. I'm not going to dignify that. I'm not.
Well, the buck stops with the president. You also have in your recommendations a role for the citizenry. You said that citizens must speak up. How would you assess the response of the citizenry? Do you feel that people are turning a blind eye, or are you gratified by the outrage being expressed?
You see, if you look at culturally the way the regions respond and do their politics, we're all different. The Southwest is loud and noisy and agitated, and we saw that in NSAS. The South is also. The North is quiet and silent. But I have told all Nigerians, and even the leadership in this country that are much older than me, they know that our silence should not be taken for granted and should not be taken for a sign of weakness. And that silence may be the silence before the storm. People have given a lot of leeway to this president, hoping things will change. Hoping things will change. And they have been held by their leaders, their traditional rulers, and their clerics, and their parents. Things will get better. Let's keep praying. We have been praying. Things have gotten better. And our silence should not be taken for granted. And they know that. They should listen to us. We are angry. Everybody is in this land.
Okay, Prof.
We are angry.
Okay, Prof, I just quickly want to interrogate this regular refrain of complicity. And I'll give you instances. There's a case of a man called Wadume, which was a very big bandit, well-known bandit. At some point, he even ran for elected position, because the new norm now is most of these bandits run for elective positions, and they get the tickets, and they're quite popular. And when this man was first arrested, there was another team by another force in the country that had to kill some members of the police force that was transporting this man. He got his release before he was rearrested. Till today, we've heard nothing about that case. So when you hear cases like that, it's obvious that these bandits are powerful. They even have political power in some regards. This is a country where we have people that have been said to be bandits running elections, and people are voting them in. So is that a validation of society on the clause of these people? Because somebody would have expected now that people will have been made examples and the likes. Although if you want to argue with me, you talk about Ghana that was killed in Benue and all of that while the peace move was going on. But it's as if these bandits are larger than life. And they are fast becoming an inspiration to other younger people in the north.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And there are 2 or 3 types of bandits. There are bandits in the forest that carry arms and do that. There are a lot of bandits in government. All those people that loot people's money, they're bandits. They're worse than bandits. All these politicians and politicians that loot the money, the people's money, they're worse than bandits. And they keep winning election again and again and again. So we have to look inwards. I'm 60. This is not who we were, but who we have become. The last time I was here with you, Rufai, you talked about Awolowo and the regions then. The regions were working then, and we need to go back then. Now, we are reminiscent not of the regions, but of the leadership we have then, in all the regions. In all the regions. The insecurity you see, and I wrote it in a paper, is a symptom of corruption and bad governance. End of story. They're all tied together. It is politicians that imported tramadol to these kids to make them their political thugs. They gave them arms all across the country. Politicians give thugs arms, and when they are done with them, they dump them. These kids have the guns. They become bandits and thugs and cultists and armed robbers. So yes, there are bandits stealing our money, and there are bandits getting our money ransom. So our society needs to look inwards. We as parents need to do better, bringing up our children. Government has a responsibility. The media, you, Rufai, Abati, and Sabiola, you all have a responsibility. We all do. This is our country. We love this country more than life itself.
Certainly.
Look at what it has become.
Most certainly.
All this crop of politicians will leave us. Leave us to this? We have work to do. Insecurity is an existential threat to this country. When I see here TV or ministers, we have approval to do this $1 billion, this billion, I just shake my head and say, out of touch with the realities of our people.
Well, Prof.
Insecurity, our people are being killed every day.
Yes, Prof.
And we must take that seriously.
Well, Prof, you're absolutely correct, but you also said something controversial recently, a few minutes ago, when you said Southwest leaders are making noise, and leaders in the Northeast are quiet, and, you are watching the situation. I'm not too sure that Yoruba leaders would like your idea of dismissing them as noisemakers.
No. No. Ruben, you don't understand.
Okay.
The politics in the Southwest, you know, that is loud and agitating. And that is what makes government sit up.
Okay.
In the North, we are quiet, not because we are weak, but we are just, that is different part of the world. And you love that when people agitate and make things happen.
Okay.
That's what it should be.
Okay.
Especially when things are going wrong.
Okay.
That was why I said silence in the face of evil is itself evil.
Okay, very good.
So I'm not denigrating anybody's way of politics. No, I'm not.
Okay, good.
If anything, I'm saying our people should be loud and clear.